Hello. I was realizing in my previous videos that I didn't introduce myself, so I was going to do that real quick. My name's Tiffany Frazier, and I don't want to mislead anybody into thinking that I'm a pastor or anything like that. I'm not. I don't have any certification for being a teacher or anything like that. Kind of like I was saying in my previous videos, I just want to put out things that I would like to hear in church. So I guess that's a brief summary. But anyway, today is the grief share video, and I'm going to be talking about how to cope with grief. On my last grief share video, I started going into it a little bit, but it's such a complicated question. I guess I'll try to go into it as much as I can. Unfortunately, like I was saying before, there's different types of grief, so it may look different. And then, depending on who you are, everybody handles grief differently. I think that's one um, we have to remember. But even though people handle it differently, there are going to be similarities. I've talked to a couple people that have been through grief, and we all experience the same feelings, but it may be at different time periods and things like that. So, I think we all have a temptation to sit there and try to put a timeline on it or try to compare to somebody else's journey. Well, maybe if I get to this point where they were, it'll mean something for me, but that's not necessarily the case. And, I know this is all kind of just random information to you if you're going through it. You may not really know um, what you're feeling or what you're thinking, but I guess I just was hoping to give some kind of guideline, and it's a very loose guideline too because grief is very, very complicated. As you can tell from me trying to describe it, it's extremely complicated. So I'll try to go into some of the things that you may experience. I guess I'll try to give an example of. Um, it could be the death of a loved one. Unfortunately, I can't really identify with that too much, even though I have had that happen to me. Um, my bigger experience of grief has been with the losing of my family, well, contact with them, because they were so abusive. I just had to cut contact. So um, I I don't know how to go into the example too much because again, it's very complicated. Before I cut contact with, I'll just go into, I guess, my mother. I had to cut contact with her. There were about 6 or 7 years where I tried to, um, I guess you could say, fix the relationship, salvage the relationship. Um, she was extremely abusive when I was living there, and I never had a chance really to speak up about it. So once I left home, I kind of, I was able to meet somebody, my husband, who was able to help me get the courage to speak up. So once I started to speak up, that was after I moved out. It caused a lot of friction between me and my mother, and she didn't handle it well, but we did try to. Well, I say we. I guess I remember I tried to work through it, and I'm assuming she tried to work through it. I couldn't communicate with her very well, but I'll just say we tried to work through it for many years. She tried to show me that she cared the best way that she could, but it just wasn't good for me. So um, I'll try to go into it more as my videos go on. It's a long story, of course, and there's a lot of details, but um, it was a huge grief process for me. Starting at when I first started to speak up to her, it was just horrible. It felt like I was. It really did feel like I was losing somebody, and I was definitely losing the relationship that I wanted to have with her. Um, so I had to figure out how to cope with it, and you know, my husband, his wife abandoned him, and he had a huge grief experience with that too. So So we kind of compared our situations, and they were similar in some ways. But I say that just because, like, you're going to experience some things that you're probably not familiar with. So I guess I'll just try to start there. Um, what I would experience was, well, like I said, a lot of like pain, loss, feeling like I was losing the relationship, and although I had my husband to talk to about it, it just wasn't enough. And I want to make that clear. Like, anything that I tell you to do will not be enough. Like, there's nothing that will be enough to take the pain away. And of course, I think part of the grief process is experiencing the pain, but you also have to be able to not experience so much pain that you kill yourself. So, of course, it's a fine line. I'll go ahead and tell you that you probably will do some things that are destructive. For many years, I've been addicted to food. I still struggle with it. I mean, a lot of people I think do in general, but going through the grieving process, the process of losing my family has been extra hard in that way. I have turned to food. I've also had a lot of anger and taken it out on my husband. So, you know, what I would recommend is trying to find somebody to talk to. But you also have to understand that what goes with that is probably expressing a lot of things that are hurtful to that person too. Like, there's the good and the bad. Of course, you're going to share things that help you feel better, but you're probably also going to take out your frustrations on that person. Because guess what? You can't take it out on the person that you need to. And of course, this kind of goes into a lot of situations. If you've lost somebody, you are gonna feel that pain of not being able to finish conversations. You may have to feel like you're holding on to a lot of things that you wanted to say to them. I've experienced that, but I think that the main frustrations, you feel like you want to talk to the person that did you the harm, but you just can't. That's just my situation. I'm using as an example. But anyway, I want to stress not to feel bad if you do turn to some things that are destructive. Um, as much as I want to say, don't do that. I think sometimes that is part of it. I've been through multiple situations that required a grief process, and I was destructive in all of them. So I think it's just reality. Just try not to beat yourself up, but also understand that beating yourself up is part of it too. So I really want to help people understand that aspect of it. But as far as like healthy things you can do, um, that one's tough because you aren't going to be able to turn to a lot of people. Um, Trying to find at least one person you can talk to, that's my best advice. Like I said, it won't be enough. Um, and I think so, in my last video I said you could try to find some things on Facebook. That's been at least a source of understanding that other people go through it too, and recognizing the feelings that you feel too through other people. That can sometimes help. Um, so I'm not gonna make this video too long because there's a lot that could be said about it. But let me just leave it at that, and I thank you for watching, and I'll try to do more on that subject again. Thank you.